right, friends, take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay, start.
Absolutely. All right. All right, sweet. We got a little improvisation at the end.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's all right. That's good. Okay, how much time do I have with each? How long does this go for? 15 minutes with each student?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, just so I can pace myself here. Okay, so great job. You have a lot of really lovely things going on there. I'm not going to take apart a bunch of technical things in these types of situations. You know, your teacher will work on that, but there's some stuff that I think will make your hands work better.
Okay.
So let me just briefly talk about that. And again, this is just I teach one way, your teacher teaches another way. I'm not better than or anything like that. This is just, there's some different things that I think are going to inhibit you as you get, how old are you right now?
Just turned 12.
Just turned 12, okay. So you're very able to change things. That's great. So first of all, do you ever use a footstool?
Sometimes, but rarely.
Okay, so I think a classical position is the superior position. I think a classical guitar position, would it be bothersome could I just borrow your guitar and your footstool for 1 second to demonstrate position that I tend to advocate for students is something, oh, that's a little high for my foot. It's something, well, that's a lot high for my foot. It's something like this. I like the body, the center of the body, the center of your body, and my leg is too high, should be somewhere around here. This is sort of where I like to set up the instrument. And so there's a lot of reasons for this. I could talk about it for all day. But the main thing that I see that as is it gives your left hand and your right hand sort of equal footing. When you're like this position inhibits your hands a little bit, right? I think because then you're sitting kind of funky, right? And you have your right hand is in a weird position naturally. You always want to try to go back to anything that's natural, like what you're doing with guitar. From, like equate to sports. You don't see like quarterbacks. There's not a guy who throws like that or something. Everyone is using the same motion. And I can say definitively, this is going to be a better position for you. Somehow sitting like this in the long run. So I don't think you'll need that much height. It's probably something like this, or something like that for you, and even for me, would be good because you just want to kind of be natural. You want your back to be chill, as the kids say, right? You don't want to have a lot of pressure on either place. And so I think that position will help you because it'll feel a lot more looks a lot more comfortable than this, right? Now, when you're playing jazz, and when you're playing other stuff, there's other things that play into this. But with classical guitar, this is a better position. And I always say this story. So I taught that I had a kid who won he won a huge, or came second in a huge jazz guitar competition. And he stayed with me for 7 years, and I sent him to Michigan State because we don't have a full jazz program. And the teacher there, I have tons of respect for, but I don't know. I know him, but we're not we don't have any of the same background. And he basically had him sit in the exact same position because he still studied with me after he went to him. But even with the jazz guitar, he had him sit like this. It's just with the strap, sort of sitting like this. So I think the arguments for this are very weak. To sit like this, I think they're on shaky ground. There are differences, but that's a better way to sit. Okay, and then. Again, I won't get too much into this, but if you're sitting like that, then your right hand is doing some goofy stuff too. Can I move this stand and just use it as a demonstration? Alright, alright. It's kind of a tight space we got here. Let me move this here. I might inhibit you. I'm dropping all your music. That's alright, then I'm trying to move quickly here. Okay, so can you sit? Oh, thank you. Can you sit like that? And can everyone see his right hand? So let's sit like this for a second. Let's just see what this feels like. Daniel, I'm sorry. I'm moving your mic here. Move you like this, and then come to the edge of the chair. Yeah, let's go a little farther. Awesome. Okay, bring your foot up there. Can you raise that foot out a little bit more? And bring this guitar up like that. Okay. That's what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so now I don't want what I'm trying to always look for when I'm teaching or when you're working with someone is this is always going to hurt. See how his back is like that? That's never going to feel good in the long run. So somehow you always want to get to a position. This foot probably needs to be a little bit farther out. And usually I let people figure this out themselves. Something like that. But you don't want this. So with your teacher, try to work to keep your back nice and straight. This doesn't bug you now, but when you get crotchety and old like me, it will. And it can affect how you play. And then, can you just start your piece without Okay. So when you begin this thing, it is going to make a big difference in keeping your hand a little more like that.
Oh, okay, so near the right.
Yeah. You can all do this. If you go like this, or move your fingers like this, go ahead, move your hand like that, and then move your hand like this. Like this? Like this. What way do you like better?
This way.
Yeah. Okay, so what you're doing is you're intentionally hurting your hand. You have a habit that's going to cause you strife later. And I think, too, the guitar falling a little bit more like this, yeah, we'll make it different. We'll make a better setup for you. Okay, so we can talk more about that at some other time, but those are the concepts. And then make sure you keep your left hand nails really short. And your right hand, try and grow some nails. Your left hand, cut your nails, right hand, grow some nails, because that'll make a difference, too. So now, just because I'm pressed for time here, can you start it again with a couple musical things about this?
Okay, can I have my...
Yes, can you start it without the music?
I don't know, I hope so.
I bet you can do a couple notes. Let's just try the first little bit here.
We can't hear anything. We can't hear
Okay, so with this, so again, the right hand, try and work on that later, okay?
Okay.
But that's something you don't want that to be collapsing, and you don't want to be grabbing notes like that. You want your fingers sort of to be the thing that's doing the work. You don't want to move with your arm. You're doing some of that too. But then just some musical stuff. Start again with that A. Can you make that? How long does that note ring out for? Exactly. And so can you sing that phrase? Da, 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 da.
What?
You ever sing? Oh, okay. Singing is a great thing to do because you're not really phrasing it, right? You're just like da, 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 da.
You want to hold the note as long as the.
Yeah, I want to make it phrasing. You know, I want to make something more interesting than just what's on the page. That's always the goal. This bar yours. Thank you. Okay, good. So if you start this, something else too, and I don't know this piece at all actually, but if you start this melody, the really important stuff is that melody, right? Right, this isn't any, so you want to try and keep that a little quieter, right? Right? As opposed to having this be like, whatever it is. You want to make it so those accompaniment notes are a lot less loud.
Okay. So you want to let the notes ring out.
Yeah. And then, let the notes ring out, but also make those much, much more quiet. There you go. Okay, so something you're doing too that's just unique. And Daniel, tell me when I got to move to the next person here. Probably soon. 3 minutes. Okay. So, so when you have this, one of the other things is you're going like this. Do you hear what I'm doing?
Kind of like.
I'm rolling the chord. This is different from that. Whatever it is. But that's different. When you play the notes together, I think you just are unintentionally rolling that.
Oh, okay. So
You're going
instead of going. Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like that every single time, but I think it makes it more interesting to have that option. That's really what the composer wrote. And again, I don't know this particular composer. And then what's going on harmonically with this piece? Or what do you have there? You're doing chord stuff? Okay, well, we won't talk about that, but something you can get into is like, what chords are these?
Well, it's an E, you got a G, B, and you got an A.
Yeah. So something that might be helpful for you is to try to kind of get an understanding of where the chords are. So is it, what the harmonic rhythm of it? What's going on with the sort of the bass part of it? And then you had a wrong rhythm in this thing too. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I might have caught that.
All right. So where was your wrong rhythm?
With the.
Yeah. Can we just go from like here? Daniel will cut me off when I need to go from right there. Can you play there to the end? Yeah. Okay, good. So, okay, and then just watch those harmonics at the end. You can get those two different ways. Talk to your teacher about artificial harmonics too.
I know, you go then they go to up.
Yeah, you can get them a different way to talk about artificial harmonics because that'll make life easier for you. You can play harmonics anywhere, okay? But anyways, that's really good start on all this stuff. Sit in that position, raise that wrist up. That'll be the main thing for you. So good job. Very nice to hear you play. I look forward to hearing you develop. Great job. All right. Next person here. Thank you for lending me your guitar here.
No problem.
I might ask for that again if I
That's fine.
can't. All right. Good work. We're here with Okay. What was the school that you go to again?
Hillel Day School.
Hello, Day School. Okay. So Ari is next. Ari's on the way. You want to have someone else go now? So we can use the time?
Let me keep it right here.
Go. Hey, Ari, how you doing?
Good.
I'm Bret. Nice to meet you. Here, music stand. Alright. So we're, your name is Ari?
Yeah.
How old are you?
14.
14. Alright, what school do you go to?
Walnut Creek.
Walnut Creek. Okay, I think I heard that one. Which town is that in?
It's in West Bloomfield, but it's Wild Lake School District.
Okay. Alright, very cool. Alright, well let's see what you're playing here today. Mozart, huh? Alright. Oh, River Craft. He actually passed on, I think. Yeah. Alright. Whenever you are ready. Bravo. Okay. So this is K3, KV3. So he must have written this when he was in the womb. Probably literally about 5, something like that, 6. They number these things. All the Mozart pieces are numbered by K, so you always know when it's a young number. He was such a prolific composer and died at 31, right? So he had like, this was a young piece, but it's still awesome. So, okay, so, have you ever listened to piano play this?
No.
I always recommend you do that. It is really good to hear hear the original instrument, but also just hear other instruments. There's some notes in the left hand. I know this piece actually randomly, and there's some notes in the left hand, which is a great arrangement. But it might inform your performance of it. You were doing a lot of great musical stuff in there. Who is your teacher?
Daniel.
Daniel. Okay, well that's just great. So, not to harp on this for every student, but have you ever thought about getting a classical guitar?
I thought of it, but this is a fairly new guitar.
Perfect. Well, it's like kind of like a, you know, you need multiple guitars. You gotta tell your parents that you have to have a classical guitar and steel. You know, you gotta have all of them. But in all seriousness, that would help you. The guitar's body in a classical guitar and in a dreadnought guitar are different. They serve different purposes. The best description I can give is I played at the flute convention, and I thought this was a great analogy. They were selling alto flutes, and the guy said, you know, if you're a carpenter or whatever, you have a whole bunch of tools in your tool chest. And they were, you know, so if you're a flute player, you have an alto flute, you know, a piccolo, and a C flute. Right? With guitar, I think that's true too. You should have a classic guitar you're playing. Something that will make it easier. And you can find classical guitars or any guitar for that matter for incredibly inexpensive. Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or whatever, you can buy stuff there that's just. One of my students just got a guitar. It was great. It was $60, and it was a, you know, probably $300 guitar. It does the trick, right? So it might be something to think about because I think that would feel more comfortable for you. But okay, so with this parameter here, let's talk about a couple things that you're doing here. Just start it again.
Okay.
Awesome. So let's stop there for a second. So first of all, if you can make your right hand more still, so if you could not bounce around as much, and also something I think that would be really good for you to do, write in what fingers you're using for your right hand. Do you know what fingers you're using for your right hand?
I think I'm using mostly this,
Yeah.
and then I use my middle finger.
So if you can use more fingers, might I pester you for your guitar being so I don't have to clumsily get my instrument. If you can use more fingers if you can use for any piece, if you can play, it's much easier. Like watch my hand. Right? It's much simpler for me than to go play with eye, just your eye fingernail. So if you can ever use multiple fingers, because eventually there's things like tremolo, right? Like you can't play things like this. You play faster, right? When you have multiple fingers. It's like using both sides of the thing. Or cross string trills. Those are all things that you can only do with multiple fingers. So it'd be good to try and get into some, and I know Dan knows these, some exercises, like some early Giuliani stuff. Do you do any right hand exercises?
Sometimes.
Those would be good to try and get into your practice routine because I think they would help you. You've got a lot of great stuff going on here, and I think that would make you much more comfortable. And then for your left hand looks like this the whole time. Why do you think that might cause problems?
Because my block is string.
Block a string, yeah. If your hand is like this, it's pretty hard to play anything from an open chord to, you know, G chord or pieces like this, right? And even I taught an NBA guy for a hot second. I taught Boban. It's like supposed to be one of the biggest, tallest pistons ever. And I always thought this was crazy because I guess he has the second largest hand in the history of the NBA. Second largest, so it's a huge hand. And he still had the same, I was like, maybe he can actually get away with weird stuff, but no, it still applies for even him to try and keep your hand a little bit more arched like that is I think important. So if your thumb is in the middle of the neck, that's going to serve you a lot better, I think. Yeah, and give yourself a little more space here, because that's going to make it just a lot more easy for you to kind of move around like that, okay? Okay, so then let's just talk about some of the great musical stuff that you're doing here. I love when you're playing. I love how you're playing some of the dynamics. You could do even more of that. Right? You could do even more of the dynamics. And I don't know if you noticed too, remember Kraftwerk and some staccato harmonies. You know what those are?
It ends the
Yeah.
the note early.
Yeah, so it means and, it means a little, it means actually detached in Italian, but it means dunk, dunk, dunk. So you can add those two because they obviously sound comfortable for you. And then just, you know, you gotta decide too with Mozart or with any composer, you know what a cadence is, right? What cadence, does anyone know what a cadence is? So, a cadence is a musical thing, but basically it's a thing that happens at the end of any tonal music, right? So not necessarily music now, but at the end of tonal music, there's always a part, there's usually a perfect authentic cadence, or you don't need to know those terms, but usually it means what is going on harmonically at the end here. And usually what it involves is just taking a little time. And I think you could do that. Mozart, I think it really lends itself to sort of some cadence. So again, listening to a recording would be very helpful for you to do that. Can you go from 8, does that come recorded from line 3 there? From measure 8?
So on.
The third line.
Okay, and then. So where should I go?
You just start from that spot and then keep going. Can you say, I'm sorry, let me see your hand when you do that 16th thing again. Awesome. So that's a perfect example of somewhere you can look. Can you play that without looking at the music? So I'm going to challenge you to try something here. I want you to go like this. Just make it so I'm not, you see my hand? Whatever it is. I'm not having to move my hand at all, right? Now watch your hand. There's a lot more movement, right? Because you go like this. You start playing, you go. You're going like this, actually. Okay? So if you could try and creep, just keep me on time here. If you could try and creep away from collapsing your wrist like that too, that'll make it easier for you in the long run. And you know, so retard, whatever, I think that area, you could do something where you go a little retard. And retard, does anyone know what retard is?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It means to slow down.
Yes. Slow down, but not just slow down like I'm going one speed and then boom. It's kind of like ya do 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 do. Like it slows down slowly.
I did that at the end.
I heard. So if you can make that thing, you can do a little bit. I think in each of those cadences. I think that'd be kind of cool. Okay, then go from how many minutes do I have?
Like last spot maybe.
Okay, one more last little thing. Can you go from the pickup to measure 4? Chop, chop. Yeah. Line 4, sorry. Line 4. So just okay, so to me, that section in there is really important because for 19th century ears, that's pretty radical, right? Get these new harmonies. That's a really moving heart. That's really pushing the chord, right? And so again, listen to music because it's kind of hard to understand this. But that spot there, I think you could kind of pay attention to making it a little bit more aggressive. To me, that's like the spot that has the most tension. It's really important to listen to styles of music, whatever you're playing. You know, if you would never understand anything if you wouldn't understand the context of music. Some stuff's very hard to explain. It's just listen to a lot of it. Same thing is true of jazz, or for that matter, traditional music of different cultures. Like, if you want to learn about, Indian ragas, we'll listen to Indian ragas, or whatever. If you want to learn about traditional music that's not taught here recently, or whatever, that's another good thing to do, is listening. I'd say this is something that would be good to get some recordings on. There's a woman named Uchido, Siko Uchido, I'm saying that name wrong. She's a Japanese woman, and she's just probably the best performer of Mozart in my view. So take a look at her. There's a million other rock stars that play Mozart really well. So, okay. Look at this, I gotta stand.
Take it whenever you can.
Oh my god, perfect. All right. How many rooms do you have here, Daniel?
I think there's 13 or 12.
How many teachers? How many teachers? None. Okay. Well, we can talk. I can try and help that situation. Yeah. Well, you do good stuff. You want some things. I want to work with you. Oh, my man. Okay, what was your name?
Jacob.
Jacob. All right, so you're playing some mazurkas.
Yeah, I'm doing Largama.
Lagrima. All right.
I can never pronounce it right.
That's all right. That's close enough. Lagrima. Lagrima. That's all right. I've had many embarrassing moments of announcing pieces from the stage and different, and it's always embarrassing. So I understand. All right.
Okay. What, funny?
Of course, yeah.
Just a little nervous, yeah.
Oh, of course. Hey, this is just for friends here. This is all fun.
All right.
So no, this isn't like an audition. You're doing this to learn more stuff. So it's like
Let's
whatever. Jacob, good job. Okay, so nerves are part of the game. It's, and I don't think there's anything. I think people don't talk about it enough. I still get nervous. I've been doing this. I'm going to be 44 in May, and I think I played my first guitar recital when I was, I don't know, 7 or 8. I still get nervous. So it's not. I don't think it's a thing that I think you know how to. This is at least my take on it. Different people have different, different versions of this. But I think it's just something about learning how what you'll feel like. That's what I always tell students, and that's really what I believe. It's almost not like fighting it's not like, it's almost like accepting that you'll be a little bit nervous and say, that's okay, man. I'm going to go up there, feel a little nervous, and that's okay. There's no, knowing that your hands might feel a little bit different. And in practicing doing it. That's the thing too. I think with sports, they do it right. You guys don't do this stuff. I didn't do this stuff enough. My students don't do this stuff. But if you teach a kid, my kid plays soccer. They don't go, okay, everybody, we're going to practice playing. We're going to practice first. We're going to kick the ball and work on your technique, and then we're going to do the same. Then there's going to be a game. It's going to be the end of the season. No, the first thing they do is like, all right, let's play a game. And that's, I think we should do more of that, to be honest in music. So the more of this you do, the better it'll be. And even if you don't do music stuff, I strongly believe, and I think there's a lot of peer-reviewed research to suggest this, you can do this, you can talk in front of anyone. I have had in my classes, and I've had famous lawyers. I had a brain surgeon who was the premier brain surgeon in the world for some type of brain surgery. And he would get terrified at performing. And he used to do brain surgeries for a bunch of other doctors to teach them how to do this one specific thing. He'd fly to New York always, and he played a couple of concerts, and I was like, this guy does stuff that actually is life and death. And he's like, that's, I'm a cold-blooded killer and everything. He's like, this stuff is just terrifying. So I don't think it's a thing that's, like, I think it's just something to try and explore and not try to say, oh, I better not be nervous or else this seems screwed up, you know. And one of my buddies played with, I can tell you, well-known classical musicians in Detroit area. They have the same thing. One of my friends worked with, I can't remember who Wynton Marsalis is. Wynton Marsalis is like the most famous jazz player around, right? But he said he was nervous for this thing they did. You know, he's a great trumpet player, and whatever. So anyways, that's a whole other topic, but keep doing this. And don't get stopped by it. And this will serve you well later in life. You'll probably have a job or a college thing where you're going to have to talk in front of people.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't come naturally, that's okay. But this will help you so much because it's going to feel like a breeze. I never have a problem in whatever circumstance I have to give a lecture for people. That's nothing compared to playing guitar concerts. Okay. Who they are, because it's like, I can do this stuff, you can do anything.
Yeah.
You know? So, okay, so let's talk about the piece.
Yeah.
You've got one learned wrong note. Did you catch that?
I'm gonna guess it's right here near the
Yeah.
yeah, right there.
Let's just start it again here. Let's just talk about a couple things here. And Dan, how many minutes do I have?
We got like 7 minutes.
That's okay. Yes. All right. You had a G. What was a G? That was this. But don't worry about it. It's not worry. Okay. So the first part of this piece. This is a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
And so when you play this first part, something else that can help you too, for nerves and whatnot, is try to focus on the beautiful parts about it. This is just a beautiful. It's a beautiful melody. It's so gorgeous. It's almost cliche because it's such a popular guitar piece. But can you try and play it as less robotically? Can you try and play it? Yeah, good. And then that fingering at the end. What if you do this? And use your second finger. That'd make it so much easier. You'll have a great guitar. How old are you?
I'm 19.
19. You'll have a phenomenal guitar. You're not done growing. So that's great. So.
That's debatable.
What's that?
It's debatable if I'm done growing. I don't know.
Well, usually my college kids usually get bigger, even if they can usually tell. Like my 18-year-old guys,
Yeah.
because I can tell their hands. I'm always like, that looks different from last year. So usually I think guys grow. Not scientific, but anyway. But use your second finger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, keep going. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Now check this out. When you set up for that, what if you set up like this? I think it's better fingering. And he wrote it in the score. That first thing, what he did, score. Yeah, check it out with your right hand. What if you did this? So you guys can't really see what he's doing. I think this finger works better.
Oh, that finger.
So A and I will make such a better functional thing. what if you did a little bar? Yeah, and use 4. 4 here. I know you can reach, but what if you did 4? Yes. Yup.
Yeah.
That will make a much better. Always defer to the fingering that's in the score first.
Mm-hmm.
Start from that place. You know, Daniel or whoever you work with, like Daniel could suggest there's things that'll work better for your hands.
Yeah.
But he knows more. They know more than you. He knows more than you. So always defer to your teachers or the, you know, when you're early on in fingering pieces and stuff. Use the Gekiere finger of the thing.
Yeah.
And this one, this is like such a. There's a lot of versions of it, but I think it's. I think that's a much better way to do it now. Can help you with. Can help you with that. Okay, then can you go on to the next section here?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So I think it might be a technical thing, but you do this section. You need to try to make the phrase ya dee da da dee da. Not da. Doesn't go slower there, right?
Yeah.
So this might be a thing. When you pick your tempo, if you can't play that quite in time, then take it super slow. That works. You know, and then in this section, you have a lot more time, right? Yeah. All right. Yes. Okay. And so I will go over every single fingering, but use the fingerings that are in here. That will help you. Okay, keep going on through the rest of the piece there. Okay. There's that note. Let's see if we're gonna get there. Is that major?
Yeah.
So at the end there it's minor, right? Significantly different thing.
Okay.
So watch that because that's about as opposite as you can get. One of my friends, Frank Kuntz, played the famous piece. He played this, right? So Daniel played this really well. He should play a concert here. I think you guys should encourage him to play something here. But that piece, Frank Kuntz played this really muscular, awesome thing at the very end of it. It's an E major, right? He goes, does an A. He's playing it great. And right at the end, the very last chord, does an A. So I think about that, I'm like, oh. And then he's doing like all kinds of accolades. So anyway, to fix that note too, because that's the thing. And I think some musical things you can work on. Each section is different.
Yeah.
Major and minor, one happy, one sad, and one feel like what's the character. So okay. All right. Very good. All right, nice work. Keep doing this stuff, Jacob. Bring it down. Are you still in school?
Yeah, I'm in my freshman year of college right now.
Where are you at school?
Wayne State.
All right.
Detroit.
Say hi to the Wayne guys. Do you do any guitar stuff there?
Not really.
Good.
I practice in my apartment.
Yeah, you should go and do some stuff. That's there's a little program down there. You know, go check it out. It's good to keep yourself, doing stuff like this. All right, who is this and what piece are you playing? Awesome. Well, here, I'll leave this here while you're performing. And so it's Eli or Elia?
Yeah.
Okay. And where do you go to school? Okay. Do you have a music program there?
No.
Okay. So Professor Byington here is your music program. And how old are you? 15. All right.
Okay, I could have played a little bit slower in the end and I know I need to work on the end bit, but
Don't worry about it. It's totally fine.
wait, I prepared myself.
Fantastic. Elia, that's really, you have good stuff here, okay? So we don't know, so do you know what a bourrée is? Who has danced a bourrée? No one. So bourrées and all these dance movements, they're a tradition. All these movements here are from dances. So it used to be, back in the day, people would dance these, there was like an upper class thing, but women, not women really, girls at the age of 10 or 12 would learn these dances to be basically married off to whatever got to entertain them. And they're very formalized. And you can watch, again, Google, YouTube this stuff, it's quite interesting. But bourrée is a dance in two, and it's usually quicker. And there was also, too, it's like a very funny kind of dancing for our eyes because people are touching, specifically with fingers, and they kind of do this, and it's always, there's always symbolism in it. It's something to behold. But the bourrée, we don't know how fast they danced it back in, 1700. Some of these guys were, we don't know. You don't have to play it too quickly. We think we can make some inferences that they probably would be played, there probably were something like, they probably had a two-step pattern because the dance would be da 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 do da. It'd probably be da da do do da. But we just don't know. So with your tempo, you don't need to start it. You don't need to say, I'm going to play slowly because we don't know how fast they play. All right. So there's some things here that I think would help you. I'd like to talk about your left hand. So you have a great reach, but you are bouncing all around. Can you just start that? Can everyone see? Can you start your piece again here? Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. So two things. If you can cut your nails a little bit shorter, that is going to make such a huge difference. If you have any nail on your left hand, it's going to cause you strife, anguish, and misery. So keep your nails just really short. Obviously on your right hand I want you to have nails, but that's I think that's messing you up a little bit. And then the other thing is you are bouncing up this way and then that way and every kind of what way. It's much better if you can stay still with your hand. Like if I can play this piece. I'm not moving that much, am I? You can keep your hand really still and it'll make all the difference in the world for
Where do
you.
you put your thumb then?
Well, your thumbs, it's kind of inhibited because your nails more in the middle of the neck. But you can't do this right now because your nails are too long. Because that's going to interfere. You see, that'll feel uncomfortable. See, that's an easy fix. That's it. And then also too, similarly along the same, thinking of that, watch the fingers that he has, right? There's some things in there that you were doing that I think were just learned rogue fingerings. So watch the fingerings that are in the piece. Watch it that you're using his fingerings until you change something, because I think that'll make it much easier for you. I like the position you're sitting. I think that's good. You might let the guitar fall even a little bit more. You're a tall guy, so I think too coming to the edge of the chair will help you a little bit. It'll give you a little bit more freedom in your body. You want to have freedom to move around, right? How many minutes do I have here?
4.
4. Okay, great. So start your piece again here. Let's just talk about a couple more things. Okay, good. So let's talk two things. So first of all, whenever you're playing Baroque music, what ornament is that?
In mine it's not a trill, it's the other one.
Yeah. What it
It looks like a mordant, but it's a different way marking your show. Like a little zigzag.
So you don't need to actually adhere to exactly what they were doing. Again, we don't know, but I suspect they would have ornamented this much more than we do now. But Bach is a deity in classical music, so people usually don't change what he wrote or what we think he wrote. So, but you could ornament more, you could ornament less, and probably it's not historically inaccurate. But with Baroque music, whenever you have a trill, you're supposed to start from the upper partial. So as opposed to, make sure the higher note, yeah. Okay, and then you're missing this part here. It might just be a technical thing. You're missing one bass line part. It might just be a little bit of a technical thing.
Oh yeah, that's not on this sheet.
You got it. It's the beginning of the second line.
Try the beginning of the second line there.
What is that?
Here?
Yeah.
Not in the. Yes, it's not on my side, so.
Oh, well, don't worry. There's a couple. Just you guys can work on that. Can you go just and then let's just talk briefly. Can you just start the second half of it again?
From the repeat.
Yeah. Okay. So just quickly too, one last thing that you think about when you're playing Baroque music or you're playing any kind of music really. This European, this is a tradition that came out of Europe, right? I call it, and I play this music, love music. It's dead white guys, right? That's what. It's just one type of music, but that's what this music is that we love and play a lot. but it's one specific type of way of playing. It doesn't invalidate other ways of playing, other cultures. But when you do this, they learned to compose not like this, but like this, right? So something called counterpoint, and you got to make sure you keep the notes connected. So ya da 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 dee da dee da dee do dee da 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 dee da da. So playing the bass while you can sing or play the other part, connected. It's not very connected. You're losing a lot of the connection with the notes. So try to make sure that you keep those notes connected as you're playing. But yeah, next person. All right. But great job. Okay, very nice to hear you play. All right. Oh my gosh. Finally, I get to hear from Bach on the ukulele. And you are Sheila?
Yes.
All right. Nice to meet you, Sheila.
Nice to meet you as well.
What brought you to the land of ukulele and Bach?
It's a long story.
Well, that's awesome. There are some virtuoso uke players out there now. It's like some of these youth are taking an instrument to a new level. Where'd you get this arrangement from?
It's just been floating around. We've changed a couple fingerings here and there, but
Okay. Charity that I do this, Daniel, you've volunteered with those guys before me. We have a called Guitars Not Guns, and we have a ukulele division now. So I've taught some ukulele in recent times. Okay, well that is just fantastic. That is really real. That piece is so awesome. So I'm going to say a couple things about it here. You know, when adults play stuff, I won't have more thing. No disrespect to your kids. I think it's great when adults are doing this. It does so many great things for your head, your hands, your brain, all this stuff. I always give my own parents a speech about they should do something like this because it really is good for you to continue this stuff. And what an awesome thing to do it on uke of all things. So I won't comment about how you hold because you would know more about that. I found that it works better with like a strap for the ukulele.
The reason I don't have a strap is because people said that, you put an end pin in it, and that might change the tone.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't speak to that, but I think they make for uke. Don't they make a button that's like a glue-on one?
There's like a harness too.
Yeah, I think that would make you feel more comfortable.
Okay.
So think about that, like a little harness. So that's a nice sound. Is that a Martin?
Yes.
So that's a nice sound in the ukulele. Yeah, you don't want to drill in a hole or whatever. Find out it screws up the, so you don't want to do that. So anyways, so this piece, it's one of the most iconic pieces in the world, right? This has been played, arguably the top 5 most famous classical pieces in the universe, right? Beethoven's Fifth, this, Furley's one of those. But so this is just, so there's a lot of ways to take a look at it. What I would try to do, generally speaking, is you're memorized for this. You didn't look at your music once.
No, I have to look at it for the barrelage. I can't remember that one.
Okay. Well, you're almost there with it, and I would just try to enjoy and focus on the piece a little bit more. You had, when your left hand changed, that's where you had a little memory stuff here and there. I would try to, in the context of anything, the ukulele is quiet, so you can still phrase and make things quieter. Our ears they get used to whatever instruments we're playing. You check out early music concerts where they have lutes and they're really quiet instruments. It's incredible because you really start to get used to the new level of like if your piano is here and your forte is here, you get used to that really quickly. Whereas if you're playing an actual piano and the piano is here and the forte is there, it's the same thing. So I think you can try to use some dynamics in there too. This piece has a bunch of interesting things, but can you do the part, I think my favorite part, because I'm just going to play this on guitar, so I'm not pulling up to the ukulele. But if you look at the spot, in C too, okay. Let's just talk about that one. So in the beginning, this lick, I don't know what it's like on the uke, but do you slur that?
What measure are you?
The first measure.
No, I don't slur.
I kind of like that musically. I think like a descending slur, that might be kind of nice, because then you could play. You do like that sound? I kind of like the, and then, because that's kind of how you sing. Yeah. There's a little more pressure on that part of the note, but that's just.
And how do I do that?
Have you done pull-offs and hammer-ons? Okay, so that's something that Daniel should show you in more detail. But a slur or a hammer-on is just like this. You can pull out a hammer-on is like this. It's called, in classical music, it's called descending slur, and guitar we call hammer-ons and pull-offs. So when you're playing those, I think that that would be a big skill, a big technique, and Daniel could give you all sorts of exercises to work on that as he knows them well. And then in the section, so that's just a suggestion. And then in the big sequence that leads up to this thing here, this thing, this is 31. Oh, let's go for 29. I think it's sort of like a big cascading waterfall. Like, that's always what I've heard. Like that's always what I've seen in my head when someone plays it. And then that whole lick there, I think that's one big crescendo. So think that's one big crescendo. The same thing can be true when you get this thing here. You know, da 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 da, and then just full blast until the end. I think that's how I hear it. I would listen to a lot of recordings of this. You know, the most iconic one is Yo-Yo Ma, probably. But there is every single night. Someone sent me. I don't know who it was. Someone sent me an electric guitar recording of the I don't know if it was some kid from England. He recorded this whole suite on electric guitar. It sounds very cool. So there are so many recordings of it, but try to look at the iconic players, like the cellist, like Yo-Yo Ma is the primary one. But anyone who has recorded on like a label, like an old school label, because there's a lot of poor recordings of this too. But great job. That sounds fantastic. And something too that you might look into too is a tablet. A tablet is great if you want to keep your music on there. I'm a big fan of that. I'm using those lately. They really help you to keep your stuff, like an iPad or whatever. They help you to keep so you keep all your music in one place. I think that'll be 4 or 5 years. I expect everyone is going to have that. Won't have much paper music. Anyway. All right, cool. Next up, okay. Great job, Sheila. Wonderful thing. All right, finally, I have a guitar. I made it to you, right? All right.
So you don't have to demonstrate anything for me, because I have to hand over my guitar.
That's right. Now, what is this piece? Yeah. What is?
Is it you're a A student, right? Okay. Yeah, I've got some. Oh, wow.
Okay. Now, who's your teacher?
Jay Davis.
Jay Davis. All right.
Should I start?
Absolutely. Awesome. Okay. How old are you?
15.
You are tall. That's good. So I'm going to say the same thing about the guitar position. You're going to be in a better position if your leg is on the footstool. And this might be, again, your teacher is great. These are, but I think it's a hard, I'm all about learning new stuff and being challenged on my own opinions, my own thoughts. But it's a hard argument for me to put any reason why you should be not in that position, especially for the tall people of the world, because you're sort of everything is more exaggerated, right? So I think that you're like the chair, right? Yeah, something like that. Just come to the edge of the chair. This is true. This is how I set up everybody. Come to the edge of the chair. You can move that guitar. Come to the edge of the chair. So whenever you're sitting yourself up, I think this is true for all of them. Kind of the first thing you do is sit, just sit naturally, and then you kind of want to bring the guitar to you to let it. And then usually, what it's less comfortable is to put that leg out a little bit more and put your foot up on the footstool, right? So, yeah. And then the guitar kind of falls something like that. And again, you're going for something where your back isn't distorted. This isn't going to turn one way or another. You're just kind of natural. That's sort of the position that I go for. That's a broader topic, but that is going to make you feel more comfortable. I would bet my house on it. It's just that'll make your hands look better too in the long run. I don't know this piece at all. It's kind of neat hearing some new pieces. So, do you know what a bolero is?
No.
Well, look it up. Always great on the internet. Look it up. But it's usually a dance. I think it means a couple other things. It reminds me of like you guys know Carmen or the famous opera. It sounds kind of like with kind of a heavy 1, 2, 3, jump. I don't know if that's true, particular piece. You are playing this pretty darn well. You got a lot of good stuff here. What do you think the accompaniment is, and what's the melody?
The melody? I think it's like mainly like singular notes.
Yeah.
Like the like the triple notes on top of each other.
Yeah. So start it again. Let me pull my guitar out now that I don't have your guitar here. Okay, so start it again. Let me give you an idea how I think this thing is put together here. Again, not knowing the piece, but. So there, this is melody. So this is setting up, so. Ooh. Change those strings. Okay, but this thing, I think, you can play that however you want to, but this is the accompaniment that's going to happen. This harmony happens to the whole piece. So it's A minor, E7, to A minor, and then you have this here. And then I think the melody begins here. So the melody is this. I think that's where, and I kind of don't get that distinction when you're playing it. There's always a hierarchy in the notes, and that's going to be more important. I kind of like the way you roll that chord, because that's sort of indicating, okay, now we're ready for the melody. And then again, I can't see those notes, they're cut off on the page. G?
Yeah. It's a G, and it tells you to play with the pinky, because the notes right after is C and E.
Oh, okay, okay, moves to C. Okay. So I think you should try to distinguish the right hand, like make that melody be more prominent. I think you could make this feel a little more. Than the other thing is you're distorting the rhythm sometimes. So do you know how to conduct? You ever practice conducting? It's a great thing. Or just tap your foot.
Yeah, it is.
So what if I just started you playing that again and I conducted you? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and. Try and bring that. And I think, so you're taking time in each of those, and I don't know if that's a learned thing, but that's not in the music. What you're playing, every time you come to the head of that. I don't hear it like that. I think it's changing the melody, so maybe there's a recording. This is where recordings can get dangerous. Sometimes someone just looking at, my wife's a really good musician, and sometimes I'll have her listen to something I'm playing, and she'll point out something that I'm like, I start the music too much. So I think the melody where you're playing it, it's sort of weird to stop right before each time. So I would try to encourage you to take a look and make sure you can play that just what's on the score. And then I think this one, I don't want you to play quicker now, but I think this one would work better at a quicker speed. That's kind of where it would sound really, really cool. And then you had, so at the second half of it here, Daniel, where am I at here?
Maybe last thought.
Last thought, okay. So the second half here, that's where your technique is sort of slowing you down from this section. Right? That thing there, make sure that you can play it in time. And if you have to, play the whole thing slower. Because those 16th note triplets are out of time. And it sounds like, I always equate it to my students, it's like, you know, a little kid, if you go, Mary had a little lamb. That's what it feels like to everybody. So even if you don't know music, that's something that you can try to always do, is keep it in time, because it'll be very, very affected by, it'll make a difference in how you perform this thing. So yeah, well, thank you guys. This was awesome. Great job, Daniel. Thanks for having me, and great job to you guys. So if you have questions, you can always ask me if you want to check out stuff. We always play the guitar ensemble that Daniel was part of, and we play stuff there all the time. If you want to come check out guitar things at Oakland, we're just about 30 minutes away here from this location. So
Where is that?
Oakland University, it's just up in Rochester. Yep. So where are you guys at? Here. Oh, well, there you go. 30 minutes. So yeah, anytime you want to come, check it out. So that'd be good.